It goes all the way. Latte is Srifi. He's a chief research and finance officer at Africa Prosperity Network. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good.
You're good?
Yourself?
I'm well.
Excellent.
Happy New Year.
Many happy returns.
How's the year been so far? We're on the 28th day.
Preparing and, you know.
Or you've been busy with APD?
Exactly.
Okay.
Africa must unite.
Africa is very important that Africa unites. We are so rich when it comes to resources.
Exactly.
And if we were to be, trading very well amongst ourselves, we probably would be a powerhouse,
Exactly. I was enthused about the music for this year.
It's very important. I mean, looking at the conversation we're about to have, I think it fits perfectly.
Exactly.
So let's start from the basics.
Okay.
Africa Prosperity Network. How was it birthed?
That's a very good question. When you look at the Africa Prosperity
Can you
Network,
speak into your microphone for me?
Sorry.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Cool. That's fine.
Okay. So when you look at the Africa Prosperity Network, essentially, we had brains who went to Kwo on one fateful day to discuss the prosperity of Africa. Basically, with the framework that was engineered by former president, the first president of the Republic,
Yes,
Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and that was basically to promote Africa's integration. If you look at the AU's agenda of AU's Agenda 2063, it's basically to create that economic integration that will promote prosperity across the continent.
Okay.
So basically, that was the mindset for the birth of APN. And initially, it was dubbed the Kwo Summit. We wanted to have it at Kwo because Kwo, basically in Ghana, is a business hub. So it was at Kwo, at the Rock City.
Okay.
And that was where the brain behind Africa Prosperity Network was engineered.
Okay.
Exactly.
And this was what year again?
That was somewhere 2022.
2022. Exactly. So officially it should be 3 years this year?
Exactly.
This will be the third?
The third
edition.
Exactly.
Okay, so that is how the network came into being.
Yeah.
Now there's a dialogue. What is the dialogue?
So the dialogue is the Africa Prosperity Dialogue.
Okay.
So basically the name even explains it better. The dialogue is basically a platform, that brings influential business leaders on the continent to come and dialogue with the heads of states and governments in an attempt to create that single market that AFCFTA attempts to engineer. Exactly. So basically, if you look at the dialogue, it's the first Pan-African dialogue on the continent that seeks to foster and promote AFCFTA's one single market agenda. Okay.
And so, I mean, feeding from that, why is the dialogue important?
Exactly. Dialogue is important because, as Efia rightly said, Africa must unite. Africa must stand up for its own cause.
Yeah.
I believe that no one can best write our narrative better than Africans. And it's been long overdue. And usually when it comes to policy decisions, the driving of Africa's infrastructure and promoting of Africa's growth, it's been done at the top level. Yeah. If I say the top level, by government. But we want to also have the private sector drive the agenda. And we know that private sector on the continent help government alleviate poverty, create jobs, and foster prosperity. So when we bring these two together, at least we can have this aim achieved.
What are some of the areas you think that we are not collaborating enough as a continent? What are some of those areas you think as a continent we are not collaborating enough?
So as a continent, I think we have fragmented policies, fragmented infrastructure, and because of these fragmentations, even having a proper conversation for our growth has become even difficult. Take, for instance, a country like Togo, okay, and just list the top 100 businesses in the United States. Can Togo dialogue or have a proper negotiation with any of them? No, because their GDP, the GDP of these top hundreds, it far exceeds the GDP of Togo. But when we come together as one market, as one single market, we can drive that change. Exactly.
And with this dialogue, how does the AFCFTA also feed into it?
Fantastic. So AFCFTA has been a strong partner since day one. The brain behind the whole Africa Prosperity Dialogue was championed and driven by AFCFTA together with our executive board at the Africa Prosperity Network. So basically, they are aware and they are a champion of this dialogue. And everything that we do runs through them. Exactly.
Do you think that eventually this may be a cure to, many instances where we see China and Africa leaders conference, and then we leave the continent and we go have a conversation with China. Then also Russia invites us, we go. The US invites us, we go. It's never really they coming to us to have a conversational dialogue with us. Do you think that if this is seen through, we may probably be replacing those with this?
Absolutely. It's our belief. And we believe that Kwame Nkrumah saw it, and it's been materialized on the continent. And if you look at what the progress that Africa has made so far in terms of our infrastructure, in terms of our collaborative actions, you could see that yes, this might be the cure, and this is the way to go.
Okay, for 2025 is your third edition.
Exactly.
How impactful have the previous two been? The two editions, how impactful have they been?
So in 2023, we had we rode on value. We rode on the ambition of AFCFTA. That's from ambition to action, delivering continental trade through delivering prosperity through continental trade, and that basically advocated for the single markets agenda. Then in 2024, we also saw fruits, and in those fruits, we drove for value addition and value proposition, where we delivered Africa's prosperity through trade, investment, trade value addition, and production. So basically, we wanted to ensure that Africans industrialize and Africa industrialize and transform to be able to take collective action of our own narrative. And the beautiful aspect of our dialogues is that AU has been recognized in our dialogues, and they've also taken progressive efforts to also support our dialogue. So usually at the end of every dialogue, we come out with a document called the Compact that commits the heads of states and the influential business leaders to commit to Africa's progress and prosperity. And that is submitted to AU's General Assembly for adoption. And the previous two has been submitted and adopted and is being even used.
And so this year, what is the theme?
This year, the theme is delivering Africa's single market through infrastructure. Invest, connect, integrate.
And what influenced the selection of that theme?
So we believe that to be able to prosper as a continent, to be able to alleviate poverty, to be able to have a shared growth, infrastructure is a linchpin. Because when we have adequate infrastructure, you can be in Accra and work in Nigeria or Lagos. Okay, infrastructure fosters or facilitates the movement of goods, services, people, and communication. Infrastructure provides the framework that people are connected, markets are connected, businesses are connected. So the whole theme is basically to focus on infrastructure. That is the focal point to enhance the regional integration.
And why is that important?
It is important
Infrastructure.
because Africa must stand on its feet to be able to negotiate better on the world continent.
Okay.
Africa must be competitive in our resource, in our negotiation deals. We have all the resources, but we lack competition, and we make the outsiders dictate for us, and that must stop.
Yeah.
So basically, we need to collectively align to build our infrastructure and progress as a continent.
I mean, you talked about, relying excessively on, external support. And it's interesting because the president also is in Kenya for an AU session or meeting in relation, something related to the AU.
Exactly.
And he talked about how the AU's over reliance on external support compromises its independence, and I think it speaks to Africa in general.
Exactly.
And as a continent, I don't know how we think that our savior is going to come from the external, rather than looking within to find solutions that's to our very own unique problems. What are some of the key infrastructure projects that you are expected to highlight at APD 2025?
Okay. So, as you rightly said, the president is in Kenya, and we want to thank His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He's been a strong advocate of Africa's integration, and he's been a strong supporter of the initiative. If you look at the dialogue seeks to specifically point out certain projects. If you look at the Lobito corridor, if you look at the West African region, the Lobito corridor and the Trans-African Trade Network.
Okay.
At least a road and railway connectivity that can connect the whole of Africa together. We are looking at the Grand Inga Dam, in how do you call it, in Congo. Okay, this can produce over 43,000 megawatts of power, capable of powering the whole continent. And one thing I realized from the World Bank's research on Africa's infrastructure was that our main deficiency when it comes to infrastructure is power. And power is the source of growth. Power is the source of businesses, okay? And they highlighted about 30 African countries who have always had interrupted power supply, okay? So when we look at these specific projects, okay, on the continent, even Dangote's refinery is also part, okay? Once we're able to get commitment from both the political leaders and the influential businessmen, we can engineer growth by focusing on investing in this project for our benefits as a continent.
And the event is from the 30th of January.
Exactly.
It's 2 days away to the 1st of February.
Exactly.
Okay, tell us, how is it? I know that the 1st of February is for the gala, but at least the 30th, the 30th and the 31st, what is going to happen? What is the outline? How's it looking?
So the whole retreat is a 3-day action-packed retreat. When it comes to the first 2 days, we call it the Business and Policy Leaders Dialogue.
Okay.
At the Business and Policy Leaders Dialogue, we come out with an outcome document, a document that highlights all these infrastructural gaps, specific projects that we need to invest in to be able to connect and integrate our individual nations and markets. Okay. Then this outcome document is submitted to the 3rd day of the summit of the Presidential and Business Leaders Dialogue for presidents on our continent to dialogue with the influential business leaders on how to make this happen. Okay, but prior to this, we have an exhibition where we highlight Africa's ingenuity, where we highlight Africa's development in infrastructure, agriculture, and technology. That is what we have named the Projet Afrique. Then also on the first day, we have what we call the breakfast meetings, where there's side groundbreaking deal sections and side events that also take on particular issues on the continent to also discuss
Okay, so that's at least for the 2 days, right?
for the first 2 days.
Okay, and then the gala is on the 1st of February.
The gala is on the third day, right after the presidential dialogues.
Okay,
Exactly.
and what is going to happen on that night?
So with the gala is basically to acknowledge influential and change makers on the continent, and basically we award their services to the continent and their transformative activities and initiatives.
And that's the Africa Champions Awards?
The Africa Champions Awards and Presidential Gala Dinner. Exactly.
I see. And who are those you're expecting to be there? I think one of the papers was reporting, the number of people expected. I'm sure you have quite a list.
We have quite a list. So far, we have about 9 presidents who have confirmed
participation.
Confirmed participation.
You mind sharing some with us?
So we have from Angola, from Burundi, from Nigeria, from Kenya. So once our president returns from Kenya, he'll be joined by Ruto as well. We also have Togo.
Okay, foreign assembly.
Exactly. We have from Algeria.
Okay.
And so on and so forth.
And for anybody listening to us and wondering, I mean, should I attend these? First of all, who can attend it?
So it's a Pan-African dialogue.
Okay.
So anyone who believes in Africa, any Africans who believe that Africa can progress from where we are, Africa can rise again. Okay, because they always say civilization started in Africa, but why are we still suffering? So any Pan-African or any person who believes in Africa and Africa's integration is allowed to attend.
Does it come at a fee, please?
Oh, no.
Really?
Yeah.
You just have to register.
Exactly.
And show
We
up.
want all the minds on board.
Fantastic.
All hands on deck.
And the venue is?
The venue is Accra International Conference Center.
Okay, for the 2 days.
For the 2 days.
And the third day?
The third day, Accra International Conference Center.
Okay, all right. But the gala takes place at the Kempinski, right?
Exactly.
The gala will take place at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel.
But that is strictly by invitation.
Strictly by invitation. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you're attending the session, for free,
exactly,
the gala has to come. Otherwise, it's going to be crowded, and it takes away the gala.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, any final words to those listening to you?
So, to those listening, probably you might want to join. You can call our protocol lead at +233 53 609 8325.
Okay.
+233 53 609 8325. Or you can also register at the Africa Prosperity Network.
All right. Once again, tell us when it's taking place.
It's taking place from the 30th of January to the 1st of February 2025.
All right.
So Thursday to Saturday.
Finally, what role is partnership playing in all this?
Partnership. We have strong partnership from AFCFTA. We have strong partnership from high-profile institutions like the UN. Okay, and they are also driving the whole conversation when it comes to the first 3 days.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Godlove Lati Isrifi, Chief Research and Finance Officer at the Africa Prosperity Network. It's still the Morning Star here on Star 103.5 FM.